Amen. What a perfect way to follow an incredible hero of ours, Kathy Kelly. And now we've got another hero in front of us, one of the troubadours of the movement, Bucky Halker. Welcome back to Live from the Heart.
Thanks, good to be back again.
Well, boy, oh boy, I'm so put serious after Kathy. I just,
Yeah, so am I.
I mean, really, we're all, let's just take a breath.
Well, we're going to give you a break before you have to start singing.
All right.
We're just going to drill you with some questions.
Okay.
All right. And I'm curious to know, on Facebook you refer to yourself as a self-employed musician and historian. How about telling us about the history part of your craft on this Labor Day weekend?
Okay.
20 months into the you-know-what regime.
Yeah. Well, I was a history major when I went off to college, got an undergraduate degree in history, and got interested in, I was always interested in politics, the left, political activism, and so on, and ended up going to graduate school and studied the field of American labor history, working class history, and ended up getting a PhD in that.
Ooh.
And,
PhD?
Yes.
You're
and I
doctor.
thought
I'm
for
calling
a-
you doctor from now on.
I thought for a while
Dr. Halker.
I might want to be an academic,
Dr.
but
Bucky.
I can literally tell you every job interview I've ever had as an academic, they always saw the music stuff on my resume in some form or another, and they would say, well, don't you think this is going to create a problem for you? So after a while of, I did have a couple teaching jobs, I quit.
Juggling teaching and music
Yeah, I
playing?
don't know what the problem was.
Really?
Yeah.
They're academics.
But, yes, exactly.
There you go.
That's the interesting thing about the academic world and academic culture is
They're goofy.
kind of goofy, and in its own way, regardless of the political affiliation of a particular academic, whether they're Marxists or, I don't know, separatists, black nationalists, or whatever, they're very conservative in terms of how they think about life in general. I don't know if it's just the people that are drawn there, but anybody who's kind of thinking outside the boundaries is not especially welcome there. So I spent a lot of time trying
Pay
to just...
attention, college students. That's what's
Yes.
teaching you.
Well, I was also interested in teaching because, I grew up in an era when we thought of pedagogy as a means of teaching people to think critically and think critically about the world. And if you could teach them working class history or a little more about the history of labor in the U.S., there were some light bulbs might go off with people.
And they did with
and
some people.
They did with some people, yes. In some ways, it's a little too late by the time they get to college. We should be
Oh,
starting
my Lord.
younger to teach them to
Ain't that the
think
truth?
critically. So I had to come up with a way, because I got tired of academia, to kind of put the two together. And it took a long time, but I figured out how to write grants. I put a nonprofit together, did this and that, and started doing a lot of programs on labor songs, because I got asked about this all the time, and I've been doing it for years anyway, Woody Guthrie stuff. So do museums, libraries, universities, colleges, festivals, you
Yeah.
know. So that was a way to kind of put the two of those together.
Do you have, are you going to play your favorite labor song nobody knows?
I could do that.
Or not?
I could do
Play
that.
something and tell
He's
us
going to
what
play
it
a few
is.
songs today.
I know.
Why don't I start with something else, and then I'll do my favorite one.
Okay.
Yeah, because I would need to talk about
Is
my
something
favorite.
else the title? No.
No.
I knew that.
Actually, I'm going to do a song. A lot of people don't know this particular blues tune. It's one of my favorites by Floyd Jones. I like it because it's got a very Chicago kind of
Orientation.
subject matter. It's called Stockyard Blues.
Right
And
on.
yeah, we'll give that a whirl here and see how it turns out this morning.
Take me to the stockyards and watch me down.
Left home this morning about 9:30. Down by the stockyards, the boys was on the picket lines. I need to make $1. Well, I need to make $1. You know I need to make $1. Well, you know I need to earn $1. With the cost of living gone so high now, darling, I don't know, darling, I don't know, darling, I don't know what to do. I went to the butcher just to get my beef. The prices have gone up on all of my meats. Now I need to make $1. You know I need to earn $1. You know I need to make $1. darling, I don't know, darling, I don't know what to do. I rent for real estate, but I got the news. They're gonna raise my rent, pay the money, or I move. I need to make a dollar. You know I need to make a dollar. You know I need to make a dollar. You know I need to make a dollar. All right. With the cost of living gone, so I'm down, darling. I don't know, darling. I don't know, darling. I don't know what to do. All right. Caught the bus at 4:30. Asked for a transfer, it's a nickel more. I need to make a dollar. That's right. Yes, I need to make a dollar. Well, I need to make a dollar. Diamond's not singing. Well, I need to make a dollar. Cause with the cost of living gone, so I'm down, darling. I don't know, darling. I don't know, darling. I don't know what to do. I don't know, darling. I don't know, darling. I don't know what to
Woo! All right. Bucky Halker, nice going.
Thank you.
Need to make a dollar. I do too.
Yes.
Hey, who is doing the best protest songs today?
Ooh, I knew you were going to ask me that question.
How did you know that? Did Thom tell you?
Yeah, indirectly. That's a tough call. I mean,
Uh.
I have to say there's as many people writing great protest songs out there now as ever. It's just a little harder to find them because we're overloaded and there's no major labels that are dominating. I mean, you're not going to just hear somebody like Joan Baez on the radio in the way that you did in the
You
old
don't hear
days.
Phil Oakes either.
Exactly. So I think it's harder to find this stuff, but you know, I'm always running into people around the world, in fact, who are playing labor music. There was a guy I just ran into in northern Germany at a festival. His name is Ramy, R-A-M-Y, Emsa, E-M-S-A, who's living in Finland from Egypt. He was facing a 12-year prison term for writing songs against the government and posting them on YouTube. And so he left the country and he's living in Finland.
What's
now.
his age? What is he a younger
He's in his
person?
early 30s. Yeah,
So
very nice guy.
to me, it seems like that this is the land of the young people now.
Yes.
Pussy Riot.
Yes.
Some really brave people.
Yeah.
Takes a heck of a lot more nerve to sing these songs on the other side of the planet.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it can be dangerous
Indeed.
to do that
Indeed.
In many places, and but people are doing it. I mean, I'm always impressed with the people I run into who, all over the world, who are playing protest songs, writing some kind of protest songs. You know, and the nice thing now is it crosses genres. I mean, it's not just people strumming the acoustic guitar like this and stuff. I mean, it's punk bands are
That's
writing
right.
cool
Yeah,
stuff.
there's people.
There was a
Rock and roll.
an electronic sort of techno duo from Vienna that in 2015 did a real nice version of Joe Hill's song "The Preacher and the Slave." of
Oh,
all
wow.
things.
So I almost pulled that up for today. It's
you
a
go.
wonderful.
We'll use it another
It's just
time.
like, you know, that's great. I mean, I like
That's
that
fabulous.
happens. I just wish they had broader audiences.
Well, Bucky, you, I know last time we had you on the show, or we had you doing at one of our benefits, you were heading off to across the blue waters, sometimes gray waters, to Europe, and I think you were in Germany, and you were working, and you also had a little bit of downtime in Amsterdam. Do you care to tell us about your travels in a traveling land?
Well, it was a work vacation of sorts. I mean, it was paid for thanks to doing some long festivals in Germany, and that was the work part. And then we sort of, we had bookended the tour by spending time in Amsterdam on both ends, which was a nice way to chill out before I had to face Trump land again.
Yeah, you were hanging out at the Bulldog?
That's right. There's some very nice, quote, coffee shops in Amsterdam, as anybody knows.
Do you remember anything about it?
I do. Yeah, yeah, I don't even want to get into it.
Yeah,
but
you
going
know.
into one of those is like going into an old-fashioned pharmacy. There, you know,
Big
there's
jars.
like a wall, and yes, and you can describe what it is you're looking for and get that. But the rest of my time there was spent doing gigs. I was part of a festival in Muln in northern Germany near the Baltic. Back in 1992, there were 2 young neo-Nazis who burned down a house with refugees in it.
Jesus.
And they died. And since '92, they've created a festival there on sort of multiculturalism, and they do world music, and you have bands coming in from all over the world. And I was the American representative this year. It was really a lot of fun.
I sure do like being represented by you and yours.
Well, it's a difficult task right now to represent the United States in any capacity.
Yeah, yeah.
As, you know.
Are you guys multilingual? You and your spouse, I'm saying?
Tony speaks some French, pretty good French,
Uh-huh.
I think. She can get us around.
She could pass for French.
Yes, she could. And I know enough German to, you know, get us around as well. The nice thing is, so many countries in Western Europe is, you know, you have people from all over the world, and at these festivals, the common language we have is English, so it makes it a little easier.
Sure.
But yeah.
You know, you've been around a while, Bucky, and you've been to a lot of, you've been through a lot of Labor Days. What's your sense of people's awareness of Labor Day? It seemed like things were slowed down. It seems like people are paying more attention, not only to Labor Day, but May Day. What's your sense of the hopefully rising consciousness here?
Yeah, well, I think May Day has drawn more attention, which I'm glad to see. That's getting more media attention, and young people, I think, are getting involved with different things connected with May Day. Labor Day, a little less so, but there is more going on. I think even the more mainstream labor knows its back is against the wall.
Yeah.
It might need to be pushed a little harder before it works against that. I hate to say it. I hate to say they'd be down on their back on the floor, but it might happen before they
Oh, Lord.
rise up angry. But there you go.
How
Yeah,
did
I remember rising up angry. All power to the people, from the lower level to the higher, from the shallower to the deeper, from the one-sided to the many, and from the abstract to the concrete. All power to the people.
Did you see how I got that in there?
Yeah, did you see how he got that in there?
But, you know, there are things going on. I mean, I was happy this year. We try to do something around town this year. There's a nice event down in Pullman with groups like the Illinois Labor History Society involved and the Pullman Porters Museum. And I'm going to be playing down there with Don Sternberg, great mandolin player. But there'll be other music there.
When are you playing?
Oh, that's on Labor Day in the afternoon.
This Labor Day?
This Labor
This
Day.
Monday?
This
At what
Monday. They start at 1 o'clock, and the various events go till 5. They even have a little train there for kids to ride around town. They're doing
cool.
history tours. They've got actors doing different parts.
So this is down in Pullman.
Yes, down in Pullman. If you haven't been there, anybody who's listening,
Have you seen the Debs film?
I have.
Isn't
I
it
did go.
wonderful?
Yeah, we
was
had him on
very
the
nice.
show. You could probably
Okay.
find it in our archives. You know, it's time for you to do that favorite labor song nobody knows.
All right.
Bucky Halker here on Live from the
All right.
Heartland on
Let
the
me,
Labor Day
slip
weekend,
this cape on.
2018.
I think we're probably going to blow Andrew's ears off, the engineer here, once we do this. I'm going to do a song that doesn't get a lot of airplay. It's a Woody Guthrie song, and you'd think it might be well known, but it was on an album that never got a lot of media attention in Woody's day and hasn't gotten a lot since. It's about an event in Centralia, Illinois.
Oh, yeah.
In 1947, it was a mining accident. We forget Illinois was a major coal producer for well over a century. And this is the story of the miners in that mining accident. 111 died. And according to Woody, I didn't bring this original, I've got a copy of his original lyrics, but he didn't really write any of the lyrics for this. They were all notes that were taken off the wall or on pieces of paper that the miners wrote before they died. So I guess you could call it a found song in some way. So here it is, Dying Miner. looks like the end for me. All of my buddies I see, we're all writing letters on a slate on a wall. He's carrying these words to my wife. I found a little place with some air, and I crawled and I drug myself there. But the smoke's coming in and the fumes getting bad, and the gas is burning in my eyes. Dear sister and brother, goodbye. Dear mother and father, goodbye. My fingers are weak, and I cannot write goodbye. Centralia, goodbye. Forgive me for the things I've done wrong. I love you more than you know. When the nights are so close and I don't come home to all that you can help on, I can hear the moans and the groans of more than 100 good men. So work and fight and fix up this mind, so this doesn't happen again. My eyes are blind with the fumes. Now it sounds like the men are all gone.
Material. New material.
So work and fight and organize, so the fires can't kill daddies no more. Dear sister and brother, goodbye. Dear mother and father, goodbye. My fingers are weak, I cannot write goodbye. Centralia, goodbye.
Wow.
That's nice, man. Really nice.
Bucky, where do you find new material these days? Do you, I mean, you have such a rich repertoire to draw on. What strikes you? Nowadays.
Well, I'm always finding new material, especially with the labor stuff. There's so many things that are still out there that have been forgotten or haven't been dug up. I just read this great story a friend sent who lives in Australia. It was from an English newspaper. During the American Civil War, the cotton mills all had to close down in England, and like 500,000 workers or more were thrown out of work. There was starvation and homelessness and all this. They found something, at least 600 to 1,000 poems written by these workers that had been thrown out.
Wow.
You know, songs and poems. So it's like there's an endless
Supply.
and then there's the new stuff as well that some people are writing that's very strong as well.
What do you listen to that's not of your genre?
I mostly listen to jazz. Yeah, I